Episode 13. Tonight we got me, Austin. We got Jay, and Brandon just popped out, but he should be right back in, I'm hoping. All right, dude. And just so for everyone to know, a little bit of interesting news is that this year, 2021, is the year of the ox, and next year, the Chinese year, is of the tiger. And if you look at the new, is it Mana? No, is it Mana? Metaverse Meta from Facebook. If you go back and watch that main commercial that they made, it's all trippy as hell. And you'll see that there is an ox that gets attacked by a tiger. Some little bit of info I found there. Let's see. Oh, he's back. He's back in black. All right, guys. And just so everybody knows, apparently that the only reason Donald Trump's name came up in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial so far is because one of the victims was asked. So they introduced you to Donald Trump. Yep, that was it. Nothing more, nothing less so far. All right. You guys have any interesting things you want to talk about? As in, like, I don't know, talking points, anything going on here with
nothing comes to mind.
Nothing. I know there's so much news, but the news is so gross.
Yeah.
It's so gross these days. Everything. I don't really think of anything good. How was your Thanksgiving, Jay?
It was really good fried chicken.
Oh, you had fried chicken?
Fried chicken. Yeah.
That's so good. Where I went, they had it at 1:30 and I showed up at 1:20, just like 10 minutes before. So I got to eat, and then later that night I got to eat again. So it's like just two of them.
Nice.
I ate so much food, it's crazy. Love Thanksgiving. It's very great. Yeah, so a minute ago we were talking about how there's no way dinosaurs, T-Rexes turned into chickens. Doesn't make much sense. But I've got a very interesting, just to start it off, little story for everybody. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard this, though. So there's this little tiny town in Texas called Aurora, right? And according to legend, in the early morning on April 17th, 1897, something strange happened about 30 miles northwest of Fort Worth in this town called Aurora. A cigar-shaped airship was seen falling from the sky when it crashed through a windmill and exploded. The airship is said to not be of this world. The pilot from Mars, people thought at the time, was allegedly buried with Christian rites at the nearby Aurora Cemetery. The Wise County town has recently hosted a conference to commemorate the UFO crash. Folks have different opinions about what happened nearly 120 years ago. All right. So what had happened was a crash, and allegedly they buried an alien body in this town, Aurora. And many of the people of Aurora ended up calling the alien Ned. And it is said that he's an extraterrestrial pilot that has been buried in the town. Someone came up with a name and it just stuck. So researchers have looked into the story for years, like testing water in the well where the wreckage was said to be stored, digging metal out of trees at a crash site as proof of something exploding there a long time ago, and using radar to see if there really is a Ned in Ned's grave. In the 1970s, Wheeler says people even tried to exhume their remains. So Wheeler is pretty much a big name in the town. Her family has been there forever. Stories go down generation. She says her grandpa laughs at it, but her uncle tells the story like, no, this is real. So Wheeler ends up giving testimony that the reason, because we all will be like, dig it up if it's an alien body, is that you cannot actually legally exhume a grave unless you notify the next of kin. Now, since there is no next of kin for this little alien, his body is still lays where it lays, and the whole town is pretty much all aliened out because of it. So, yeah, 1972, they did a court injunction to fight anyone trying to dig up the body and prove of its existence. But allegedly, there is an alien body buried in Aurora, Texas. You guys thought that was fun.
Might stop by there.
I would
Be a
too.
tourist and look around.
So
With a shovel.
you could just see like the townspeople are like, leave it the fuck alone. You know what I mean? Whether it's true or not, it's a great story for the town, and it brings in a lot of people. And I guess all the shops are like aliened out, and it's all themed and stuff. But yes, ufologists, and all all the sciencey people went down there trying to exhume the body, and they ended up having to fight it in 1972 legally. And they were like, you can't dig it up without the next of kin. So that's kind of their cheeky way of saying go F yourself and leave it alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, whether they believe or not, religious side or anything, you don't want to dig up the body. And then the other ones are like, I really hope this is true, but if it's probably not. So leave it the F alone, or else we're gonna have to take down, the Halloween alien shit we have up all year. So today, guys, I want to talk about Men in Black. And yeah, it's a fun topic, still in the dark. And within recent years, it seems like the government's been trying to hint at it and been like, yeah, it was us. But I don't really think it's our government, our military, which could go into the topic that you may be bringing here soon, Jane. Very, very interesting.
Maybe.
Hint, hint, wink, wink. Okay. So most of us know who the Men in Black are, but if you don't,
it's not Will Smith.
It's definitely not Will Smith. He wishes he was Men in Black. Well, in popular culture and UFO conspiracy theories, the MIB is what they're referred to, or Men in Black, are supposed men dressed in black suits who claim to be quasi-government agents who harass, threaten, or sometimes even assassinate unidentified flying objects, witnesses, to keep them quiet about what they have seen. The term is also frequently used to describe mysterious men working for unknown organizations, as well as like black helicopters, as well as various branches of government allegedly tasked with protecting secrets or performing other strange activities. The term is basically generic and used for any unusual, threatening, or strangely behaved individual whose appearance on the scene can be linked in some fashion with a UFO sighting. Tons and tons of encounters, guys. Typically by like UFO researchers and enthusiasts, people digging into the rabbit hole, making it bigger, trying to fit more and more of their goofy alien brains down into it. So the first original sighting or report of it dates back to June 27th of 1947. And as the story goes, Harold Dahl was on a conservation mission on the Puget Sound near the eastern shore of Washington's Maury Island, gathering logs, when he saw 6 donut-shaped obstacles hovering about a half a mile above his boat. Before long, one of them fell nearly 1,500 feet, followed by raining metallic debris, some of which hit Dahl's son, Charles, on his arm, as well as the family dog, who ended up not surviving the ordeal. Dahl was able to take some pictures of the aircraft with his camera, which he later showed to his supervisor, Fred Chrisman. The skeptical Chrisman went back to the scene to look for himself and saw a strange aircraft with his own eyes. The following morning, Dahl was visited by a man in a black suit. They end up at a local diner where the man was able to recount in extraordinary detail what Dahl had just experienced. In quotes, "What I have said is proof to you that I know a great deal more about this experience of yours than you will ever want to believe," end quote. The man said, according to author Gray Barker's 1956 book. Dahl was told not to speak of the incident. If he did, bad things would happen. So that's the first very original report of Men in Black. Now, have you guys heard anything else of the Men in Black or anything ever wondered about it? Or
They're normally pale,
very
more
pale.
more pale than normal.
Do you have any theories? Like there's so many it could be time travelers, aliens, government officials, part human, they could be robots, they could be
I've heard
all
the robot
sorts of
theory.
crazy stuff. You have or haven't?
I've heard the robot theory.
Oh yeah, because of how weird they act.
Yeah.
I know. Too bad they're not as cool as the Men in Black movies. That would be pretty
Yeah.
great, I think.
I know that they'll just show up and disappear once they intend to leave. If they show up in pairs, they kind of look like each other, like twins. I've heard of that.
Oh yeah. Yep. Like twins wearing the same suits. We're about to get one. So
Suit?
no, not a suit. we should totally one day when we yeah, that'd be funny if we all wore Men in Black suits on a video pod one of these days. By the way, I'm trying to get a setup for the pod to be able to do video one of these days. And yesterday I just bought a 3 by 5 foot flag that says magically, "Let's go, Brandon."
Wow.
It was worth it. Yeah. I kind of want to wear it around like a coat or a blanket.
Where'd you get that at?
Oh, so down the street here, there's this couple and their baby with like a full-fledged like fair setup on the side of the road, selling hats, t-shirts, flags, like a ton of flags, tons of stuff, and then like stickers. But it's all like they got one with the picture of Poppy Trump on it, all like Rambo or whatever. They got it was tons of stuff. Anti dictatorship, authoritarianism, and pro-Trump, anti-Biden kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. Kind of spendy, but I'm like, you know what? It's worth every dollar. Now I just need to get a truck so I could attach that flag to the back of it and just drive around for the next 3 years. All right. So here's a story about a real Men in Black agent who made a coin disappear as a scare tactic. So Dr. Herbert Hopkins was working as a consultant on a UFO case in Maine. One evening, he received a phone call from someone purporting to be an activist for the UFO community, asking him if he could visit Hopkins to discuss the case. Only minutes later, the man arrived. And I do believe there's 2 stories to this where minutes later happened, or he hung up the phone and the guy was walking up his stairs right after he said yes. So the man was purportedly wearing a black suit and a black tie and had very unusual facial appearances with no hair or eyebrows and an extremely pale figure. His skin was very pale, like white, like a doll. That's what it was said. Hopkins' dog began barking erratically the minute the man entered the home. After the bizarre visitor was finished questioning him about the UFO case, the visit got even stranger. So the man informed Hopkins that there were 2 coins in his pocket, in Hopkins' pocket, which was correct, and asked him to remove one. Hopkins complied and held the coin, a shiny new penny, in the palm of his hand. The Men in Black told Hopkins to watch the coin closely. After a few moments, the coin took a silvery appearance and then appeared to be going out of focus. It then began to fade and eventually disappeared altogether. The Men in Black informed Hopkins that the coin would never be seen, quote, on this plane again. He then inquired as to whether Hopkins was familiar with alleged UFO abductee Barney Hill. Hopkins replied that he had heard of Hill, but was under the impression that he had died in the not too distant past. The MIB informed Hopkins that was correct. Barney didn't have a heart, said the MIB, just like you no longer have a coin. The MIB then gently suggested that Hopkins destroy any material he had related to the UFO case. Hopkins, extremely shaken by the encounter, followed the advice of the man and burned all the files he had related to this case, while he had repeated phone troubles afterwards. And the phone company ends up saying that his line had been tampered with, like tapped. He never saw the man again. Very, very interesting.
Hmm.
The case of the disappearing penny. I don't know. It almost sounds like one of those darts that we've talked about before. You know what I mean?
You know the Hill family, the two people that happened to their granddaughter is a UFC fighter now.
Is she really Betty and Barney Hill?
Yeah, Angela Hill. She's legit like a top 10 UFC fighter at 115.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
She's like, talk about my grandparents.
Yeah, she was on the Joe Rogan Experience and she didn't even mention it until they fucking quit doing the episode. And Joe Rogan was like, "What the fuck? Why didn't you mention that like when we were live?"
Oh no.
Yeah.
She's like, "Whoa, asshole, we're here for me, right?"
Yeah.
What if there's something to that though? You know what I mean? Professional UFC fighter, granddaughter. I mean, that's even the
She's a bad
coincidences.
bitch too.
Yeah, maybe some gene editing going on there. Something. I think. Yeah, didn't they suck Barney off in that one too? I think the aliens sucked him off with one of those suckinators.
Not disappear.
Are aliens flying around creating UFC fighters, you guys?
They could be, or they could be.
Have you ever seen Anthony Smith? He kind of looks like an alien.
Does he?
Oh yeah. He definitely could pass as an alien for sure. He's fucking creepy, long arms and shit. Has a fucking weird nose. Look him up, man. He definitely could pass as an alien.
That's
hope he doesn't hear this though, because he would fucking smash my mouth in. He's a monster.
What's his name?
Anthony Smith, Lionheart.
Oh, great.
He fights at 205. He used to fight at 185 too.
Oh, he does look like a fucking alien.
Told you.
Yeah, this fucking guy.
A guy that looks even more like an alien is Colin Fletcher.
Yeah.
He's in the UFC too. Yeah, he's fucking really creepy looking. He like sharpened his teeth and shit.
Oh wow, what the hell?
Chimera.
Yeah, that guy looks like a chimera, dude. That's some creepy shit. No one ever called this guy out, or what?
He looks like Baraka from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, he looked like that vampire from that fucking that movie. Van Helsing movie. You look like the vampire.
Yeah, he definitely does.
You look like a goddamn crackhead. Fuck. Hope he doesn't hear that.
Yeah, he's kind of a bad motherfucker too.
I think they all are if they're in the UFC. And
oh yeah.
He's all dressed up in clown paint too. Creepy. I wouldn't say intimidating, but definitely creepy. You don't want that guy licking your face.
His wife's
or
pretty
something.
damn good looking too. Like you wouldn't expect it from him, but his wife's pretty solid.
He looks English. Or
he is.
Is he?
Yeah, he's from the UK.
That's why
they
it looks
fought
like
on the Ultimate Fighter UK versus Australia.
Yeah,
is what he was on.
He does. It's funny. I called that. Yeah, he does look very, very English.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got another one, guys. Got Dr. Albert K. Bender. He was a well-written and extremely intelligent researcher who founded the International Flying Saucer Bureau. I can never say that word right. In 1955, his research was about to yield serious fruit as he prepared to unveil a paper that would prove the U.S. government had, to one degree or another, covered up proof of UFOs. He planned to publish his findings in the Space Review. That was until he was visited by the Men in Black. Bender claims that 3 men dressed in all black visited him at his home and warned him against pursuing the topic of UFOs any further. The men left Bender scared for his life, and he immediately shut down all of his research in the Flying Saucer Brew. Many people who knew him claim that Bender was a changed man after this encounter. His later works were rambly, almost unreadable, and he seemed to live his life in constant anxiety and terror. He purported to still receive mysterious phone calls with nobody on the other end until the end of his life in 2002. That's a sad ending to that story. But, it really seems like the Men in Black are assholes. But who knows? The reason they could be fucking these people up so bad after they talked to them could be maybe they told them something else. You know what I mean? Because they did say to shut up and stop talking about it. So probably they wouldn't talk about the shit that they told them that messed them up so much. Because, yeah, fear and intimidation is one thing. And then paranoia, all that stuff. But they could have told them some life-changing shit that totally made sure they'd never talk about it again,
Oh,
So
yeah,
then,
definitely.
yeah. And there's number 3 we got here of these ones, which is number 4, I guess. The Maury Island incident. Oh, no. We already hit that one. So that was 3. This is 4 or 3. I don't know anymore. Doesn't matter. The Solway Firth spaceman photo invites a government visit. Is the title of this one. So Jim Templeton was shocked to discover this figure in the background of a photo of his daughter. He figured was not in the camera's view when he took the photo, and nobody had any idea where it came from. Now, this could be a complete hoax. It is totally a weird photo. It's a little girl smiling at the camera, holding some flowers, and behind her head looks to be some guy floating at an angle behind her with some sort of almost clear helmet on. It's a ridiculous photo, you guys. The film was verified as authentic by Kodak, and Templeton's story went public. Not long after, he was visited by 2 government agents who referred to themselves as number 9 and number 10. Imagine getting showed up and they're like, I'm number 2. Oh, some good Austin Powers jokes. That's funny. They demanded to see the side of the photo and questioned Templeton about the event. When Templeton told them that he didn't see the figure personally, the men became angry and stormed out of the field, never to be seen again. Templeton was later contacted by 2 employees at a missile launch pad in Australia, who claimed that they saw 2 figures that resembled the man in his daughter's photo on launch pad security footage. Apparently, the missiles at that site in Australia had been produced only 20 miles away from the field where Templeton took the photo. It's weird, you guys. Very weird.
So there's a number 9 and number 10.
Mm-hmm. Which
Is there
means there's a 1 through
15,
8.
16, and 17?
Maybe. Why do you say?
Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, oh, and the conspiracy continues. Facts, bro. This all has to do with Dragon Ball Z. They're probably up numbers. They're like, my name is number 1,236,000.
Hey, I gotta go a little off topic here if you don't mind.
Go for it, man.
Go ahead.
Dude, I've been seeing some like super odd shit. Like
in the sky.
I was helping babysit. Yeah, no. I was helping babysit this kid like over Thanksgiving week, and like the apps that he had downloaded on his phone, he was showing me were like some of the most like awkward and disturbing shit that I've ever seen in my life. Like they're taking like all of these kids' cartoons and just making like evil as fuck versions of them, and then putting them like on YouTube for kids to watch. Like evil SpongeBob, they had Sonic EXE.
Yeah, dude.
And they have like creepy songs and like literally like apps that you can like download that like look innocent as fuck until you get into them. And like Sonic like has videos of like pretty much saying that like he's gonna fucking murder you, and like pretty much like it's okay to like play with knives and like pretty much like telling kids like turn the fucking oven on and leave and like just like super weird shit. It's like, what the fuck is this? Like super weird.
This goes into that whole baby cam shit, dude. This has been going on for a long time. And so they've been finding out that whole YouTube Kids app is like filled with children and pedophiles.
Yeah.
So I don't let them use that once I learned about it. But yeah, a lot of it. So there was this thing going on like last year where a bunch of videos had this where it'll be like 15-20 minutes into a video and then all of a sudden it'll start talking.
The Momo thing?
That, yeah.
What you're talking about?
Yeah.
Or just other shit like that?
Well, it's all of it. And yeah, there was the Momo thing and then some other stuff. But yeah, it was like turn on your oven or go eat your parents' pills and, you know, shit like that. I saw not in person, but recorded. Yeah.
But like this kid's like 4 years old and it's like on a safety kid setting and it's still like it's like super disturbing shit. Like there'll be like a video playing in the background and it'll be like this red like creepy goat face that says I am God and shit like that in the background. And it's like this is like targeted for like fucking little kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like why are they watching? Like why is this? And they'll have like loops, so they'll play the same song and they'll have it in like 15 different languages. So they'll play the same exact song and it'll just be in like language after language after language. So it's like targeting everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't know. I didn't even think about it. I don't fucking have kids, you know that, but like it's just weird. Like this kid, like I don't want to say anything negative about a 4-year-old, especially. That's just fucked up to say, but like
right.
Just like the shit that he was saying and like picking up from the cartoons and stuff, like it was fucking weird, dude. Like this kid was like telling me he's like that he feels evil sometimes and that like sometimes he gets knives off the counters and shit like that. It's like
that's fucked
man?
up.
Like,
yeah,
like
that's
what are little kids like
shit.
listening to? Like, but like parents just give them this shit and it's like, oh, I'm so exhausted from work and this, that, and the other. Like I have to just give them this tablet just to like get 5 minutes of alone time. And then like the shit that's being fed to their kids is fucking ruining them. Like it's and you can't blame the parents for doing it, but at the same time, like holy fuck, man, it's like creepy. It's like really creepy.
Yeah, there's some whack shit. That's why you gotta start a base on it because you can't be there for everything. And I'm more concerned about the shit that's like made for kids. You know what I mean? And
yeah, it literally is like it's targeted for fucking kids. Like I don't know, just like sometime like and it's fucking stupid. It's obviously for kids and shit like that. But it's like go Google Sonic EXE or like any like evil SpongeBob. And it's really really weird.
Right. And I mean, like who's making it? But also like little kids are coming across it, but it's obviously popular. And I'm wondering like if it's like an age group of like 10, 11, 12 that's like into that shit. You know what I mean?
I thought that it was like kind of like not a huge targeted thing. Like just by chance, like some adults made it and it slipped through the cracks or whatever. But this kid like literally had like evil.
There's thousands of them.
Like he had like plushies and shit that were evil Sonic.
Yeah,
like his mom was biting plushies and like
really
siren head shit.
Holy shit!
Like literally, it's not like they don't even know what the fuck it is. They're like, oh, whatever. It's just something that my kid watches, and they're literally like it's not just like a by chance thing. Like it's literally like
that's not
something
good.
that it's like readily available.
Yep, here soon he'll be choking cats to death and all sorts of shit. That's fucked, dude. That's a serial killer. I mean, you got to start somewhere, man.
But it's everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that's what they're exposed to.
Yeah, like
even if you go to Google and if you type in just the hair color, like if you go to Google and type in blonde, you click on it and the first thing you see is porn. Yeah, like when we were little kids, like it was kind of difficult, like a little bit more difficult to find porn and stuff like that. Now you just go to Google and type in anything and it's like almost porn, almost like 50% of the time.
Yeah. They found like in algorithms and shit on that YouTube Kids because like I'd never do it. I would never let my kid become one of these fucking YouTube Kids, no matter how much money we can make. Some of them are making hundreds of thousands. You know, that's the joke, and they really do.
There's that
like
little fucking You know what's creepier to me is when like 35-year-old dudes act like little fucking kids and like
That's
test
weird
like little
too.
kids' toys.
It's
Yeah.
not even
It's like
just
when you
dudes. There's women doing it too.
oh yeah, for sure. But like I think it's creepy either way. But like dudes are like acting, like playing like I don't know, they're playing like they're fucking 8-year-olds, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah. Exactly. That's just the very beginning veil of the fucking how big this pedophile network goes, dude.
yeah.
They're finding algorithms in it where moms and were catching the shit where um like, so you watch one video and it'll bring you to a video that's kind of like it. You know what I mean? Like with YouTube, it'll
Oh
bring you
yeah,
to like,
there's yeah,
Like a
there's set
recommendation.
algorithms for
well,
anybody
there's
for
like
anything. Yeah.
algorithms where it's like all those videos of like those YouTube kids and shit, but it's bringing it like they were bringing them to like these little kids, these little girls or little boys in like swimming suits, swimming like little girls, like 5-year-olds swimming, and then it was like the algorithm was like bringing you to the next one, and it's just these little kids like in swimming, like bathing suits, swimming and shit. Like it was definitely
Yeah.
made for fucking
Pedos.
weird fucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so YouTube kids like broke that shit down, but they're not, I mean, the people running the shit, obviously they're trying to make it with the LGBT shit is like trying to push in the pedophiles like hardcore.
Which is so weird, like it's just like so weird to me that like it's so obvious that such a small majority, a small percentage of these people are the ones speaking out, you know what I mean? Like it's not like most people aren't like that, but like the ones that are like that are so outspoken and so loud, it's like, oh, this is what people want, and it's like that's not right.
Well, I
like, at
think the
all.
cult is a lot
And most
bigger
people
than you
know
think
that.
it is, man.
Oh
Like
yeah,
they're
well,
building an
for sure. Go to
army.
inner cities and
Well,
yeah,
they're
go to inner
building
cities
an
and shit like
army
that.
of
So many people are
pedophiles,
fucked up
dude.
and confused.
What do you
Yeah.
think the whole fucking Pope runs? They're the ones down
Oh, for
there
sure.
right now. Fucking, they're the ones vanning all those fucking children from South America all around and putting them in cages and then shipping them out to private. They're called what? Private, or no, they're called, private sponsors, quote unquote, quote,
yeah.
vetted private sponsors, end quote. And that's coming from that redheaded bitch in the fucking White House, the press secretary, whatever her name is. And the fucking Catholic Church goes back to Roman times before Jesus, and which the Romans killed fucking Jesus, but it's a satanic cult, dude. They're sun worshipers. They've been raping fucking kids for thousands of years. It's the same shit going on today, and it is a cult, and it's a big one. That's why they're doing this shit in front of us, is because they have so many supporters. Kate Brown is about to release 150 sex offenders right now on short time or whatever, and then all over the US right now people are starting to find out their governors are about to release hundreds of sex offenders. Why? Because these little fucking kids from third world countries need somebody to take care of them.
So I got a case that's like kind of personal, but like it's on a level kind of like what you're talking about. As like I've already mentioned a couple times before, I worked in a psychiatric unit.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was this guy, and he was just like, he just looked terrified all the time. He was just like the guy in the corner, just had crazy fucking hair. His eyes were like bright fucking blue, but he just looked like he just had like the worst thoughts going through his head at all times. Which, if you talk to him, he did, and he talked about it openly. And he wanted to hurt kids or kill kids. The thing is he didn't want to, but he had such bad manic episodes. That's what ran through his head all day. And he was like a small, feeble, tiny fucking dude, and he knew that. And like his mania played to that, and knew that the only people that he could really hurt were kids, because even most women could beat this guy up.
Wow.
So he had thoughts in his head constantly of hurting, raping, torturing little fucking kids. And they were trying to get this guy in a halfway home, like a fucking assisted living house, like where he could go into the public. He was telling them, I was sitting there listening. This guy was telling them, I do not need to be in public. I am a danger to the public. This is not what I want. I would rather be in a lockdown facility. And they were like, well, you've made so much progress and you're so open with this, that, and the other. And you realize that you have a problem and you're working towards not offending and da da da. Like, we're literally like trying to convince this guy that his mental health and his mania wasn't to the point of what he was trying to tell them that it was. It's like if the
Exactly.
guy's warning you that he's a danger and wants to kill children, and he can't help his feelings or thoughts, and that scares him, and he doesn't want to be forced into that situation, why are they still trying to force this guy? who is
Sounds like he's
obviously
the only guy in
a
the
danger?
situation in that room at the fucking time. You know what I mean? With
Yeah, and all these people that have all these fucking degrees that have went to school for 8 to 10 fucking years are telling him that he's fine. Like,
be like, would
I
you
don't
lock your kid
understand.
in a room with this guy?
Yeah, exactly. You want him to babysit your kid? But like, I just don't get, like, even with a guy who is so open about it, who is admitting that if he gets a chance, he will offend, and it's not his choice, that's just what goes through his mind. Like, why would they even push that out of somebody? Like, is it an insurance thing? Is it a payment thing? Or are they really just trying to, like, get these dangerous people on the streets for some reason? Like, I don't know why
Right.
it would benefit anybody, including the person that they're torturing and putting in the situation to do something like that to somebody.
Is
Because
there
he
a
has a
war?
conscience.
Is there a
Yeah,
war
he's a
between
good
good and
guy.
evil? And
He's a good guy, but he just
Yeah.
has very, very, very sick and terrible thoughts that he can't control.
he's got
But
mental
if you sit and
health
talk to
issues.
him, yeah, severe mental health issues.
And he realizes that, but they're not helping him. They're pushing their
Yeah,
whatever that word is, where you like
he's very, very self-aware of it, but at the same time, you could tell the internal battle that the guy is going through
he
just by
can't
looking at
control
the
it.
dude in the eyes, that he is going through some shit. Just
Yeah.
because he hasn't offended, and just because he's calm and nice, and he's very well spoken, and he's friendly, and he says thank you and please, like, he's like the nicest guy you would ever imagine. He, manners, all fucking day long, but you can't help when you have manic episodes. Like,
Mhm.
your body and your mind aren't yours anymore at that point. Like, you're there, but you're not driving. You know what I mean?
When it
Yeah.
comes to shit like that,
You're
you
not in
can't risk
control.
it. You know,
No, and that's what he knows that.
it's not like the dude's like addicted to masturbating or something. It's like you're strong. You know, you have a problem jerking it. You're good. Go out there in the world and try not to jerk it. Because if he jerks it, no one's getting hurt. No, it's I want to fucking rape and kill children.
He literally
you're all
has, like,
right.
told me face to face that he wants to get, like, if he finds a gun, he will go to a school and kill kids.
That's fucking crazy. That's fucking
But
crazy.
yeah,
That's there
I
where
don't even know
you
if I'm
live.
supposed to be talking about any of this. Yeah, we got people from all over the state though. Like, we weren't getting people just from our county. We
No,
got
they're
people
sending
from all
them
over
away
Oregon.
because they don't want to fucking deal with them. That's crazy. They're
Yeah.
spreading the poison.
Well, where we were, it wasn't our job to deal with people, but it was our job to find a place for these people to go. We were a
Right.
first stop shop. So we got somebody that was having a manic episode. The cops pick them up, send them to the hospital. They get their labs done, and then they send them to us, and then we get them balanced out on their medications and send them off somewhere else that's fitting to get them rehabilitation.
I love this shit. This is why I like hearing from you guys. This is way more important than Men in Black.
Yeah.
This is fucking way more important than Men in Black.
We could stray back and forth a little bit.
We can. Fuck, man, that is crazy. All right, let me throw this one out there, and I'm gonna think about this too at the same time. This is gold. So here's another one. Paul Miller was returning home after a hunting trip when they saw a luminous disc in the sky. The disc landed in an empty field, and two humanoids emerged from the craft. Miller fired his gun at them and believed to have injured one when he fled down a rural road in his car. However, in that moment, he realized he had lost time. It was almost 3 hours later than when he first encountered the craft. He shrugged it off and went back to his Air Force job the next day. However, upon entering work, he was immediately confronted by three men in black suits. They told him that they had his file, despite having told nobody about the event. The men said that they knew all about it and mentioned that the encounter would be best forgotten. Paul says they seemed to know everything about me, where I worked, my name, everything else. They also asked questions about his experiences as if they already knew the answers. So they're like, how about this? How about that? Miller, terrified, did not come forward about his experience until many, many years later. All right. Yeah, Brandon, I think they're creating an army. It keeps popping up in all of like my resources that I go to, all the people talking about it. I think they are creating an army of pedophiles, but it's not just people that want to touch or hurt children, which go hand in hand. it's part of sun worshiping. It's rituals is what it is. They're trying to make an army of their satanic rituals, which is crazy because we've all been talked about like the satanic panic era. It's just this group of weirdos. No, these people are fucking in the highest places of business. They are running it. It's like if you're you find these pedophiles, they're in the school system. If you're a pedophile, you want to be around kids, right? So you're in the school system, you're going to churches, you're Boy Scout leaders, Girl Scout
like
leaders.
that Jimmy Savile guy in the UK. Remember him?
Mm-mm.
You never heard of this guy?
I probably have, but I don't.
I can't. Okay, I'm gonna butcher the fuck out of this. I think he was like, I don't know if he was just some kind of activist or if he was an actor too or not. I know he was like super famous in the UK, but you just look up Jimmy Savile, and just look at the guy, and you'll go, ugh, like that guy makes your skin crawl just looking at a picture of the dude. But I guess he was involved in like running a bunch of orphanages and like schools and like social programs and shit like that. Well, I guess behind the scenes the whole time he was just getting these fucking kids left and right and just raping kids, just fucking off the charts, dude. Like
he's got fucking black eyes.
Dozens. Yeah, he's creepy as fuck.
He's got the black eyes.
Raped a lot of kids, and I don't think he really got in very much trouble until like the very end of his life.
So we have it. Yeah. The thing is if you can see the tops of the whites of their eyes, they're showing you they're fucking crazy. And most liberals these days have that. But my thing was saying is that, so like, if you're a regular fucking like sick fuck, and you're not rich or anything, you go to like Boy Scouts, you go, all that shit. Now, if you're super rich sick fuck that not only like wants to rape kids, but torture them and, drink their blood with adrenochrome or any of that shit, you're going to run those businesses. You're going to run those departments. And then you're going to put people like you in positions of power.
Yep.
And
that's what that guy did.
And they're going to put people like that in their positions of power. And they're going to put people like that in their positions of like down the chain until you got a whole bunch of sick fucks running the whole. And that's what the fucking hierarchy of the fucking Vatican in the fucking Pope is, and they run the fucking DHS programs too. And right now what they're doing with this fucking open border is replenishing from episode fucking 1 of this podcast all of the fucking children and the fucking sick fucks that got lost when Donald Trump did that sign those fucking papers in 2017, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And they fucking removed their whole chain of command all the way down that fucking tree. And they lost almost everything. And that's when Epstein was fucking busted. And that's what's going on with Ghislaine's trial right now. And the reason they won't put it on the fucking news or put a camera in there is because the judge is a sick fuck too, dude.
Did you guys know that a whole bunch of CFOs are leaving their positions? It's in the news.
CFOs,
like chief financial officers.
Oh,
of,
yeah.
like, big companies.
Mm-hmm.
Like Walmart is one. I've heard Pfizer. I've heard Chase, JP Morgan Chase.
Mm-hmm.
Their CFO has quit. Some people say it's related to the trial. But some other people are saying that they've been cooking the books for these companies to where they've funneled some of that money to for these like child trafficking businesses. So yeah, so they're getting out of position now to save their butts, but then there's so much leaving. It's hard not to notice.
It's
like
weird.
There's a lot of them leaving their position as CFO.
It's because all these companies that are charities seem to be fucking running the shit. You know what I mean? You know, when you go to the store and you put a penny in to save kids or whatever.
Yeah.
Most of those fucking charities are the ones doing the shit to the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure if you looked at like Walmart or, you know, those big companies where these people are leaving, they have like, they sponsor some sort of charity throughout the year as a tax.
Also,
evasion.
I
That one
think
is
I
put up
think that
too.
those big companies get to use those donations as a write-off.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, for taxes. Yeah, they get to write it
Yeah.
off, feed it into them,
That's
and then they
fucked
get a
up because
yeah.
those companies get such a huge cut anyway and fucking have so many loopholes going in their favor already.
Mm.
And then they have some poor fuck donating his time, probably standing outside in the fucking cold, and they get to use every penny that motherfucker makes as a write-off.
I could tell you guys right now what companies are a major part of this sex trafficking, fucking adrenochrome harvesting situation. You want to know which ones it is? Every single fucking one that was called a necessity during the fucking lockdowns of the COVID-19 pandemic. Every single fucking business that didn't shut down when all these other ones had to is directly associated with this pedophile network. 150 fucking percent. And I guarantee if you lined up the numbers with the people leaving or the businesses with the people that are leaving and the businesses that never had to shut the fuck down, it would coincide perfectly. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I've seen a theory based on they were trying to bankrupt the housing market, and so they can swoop in and try to privatize all the housing, and so all of your rent would be controlled through just the government and shit like that. And so
Yep.
it pretty much like they would be the only ones that were able to like make money off of like anything at that point. Like they're like just trying to privatize as much land as they possibly can, like including your own home.
Because they wouldn't they wouldn't just own your home. They'd flatten it all out and make fucking 20 by 10 fucking apartment cells.
And then bug everything, and we'll be called the UK.
You'll be happy, you'll eat bugs, you'll own nothing. Yeah. It's all part of the plan. It's slaves to make us, which seems like housing us in cells as batteries. Straight to the fucking Matrix movie, boys.
I have a good friend, man, up in Maine. He's just one of my online friends that I met through just like MMA shit. But his uncle owned a bunch of apartment complexes, and there was a tenant that didn't pay his rent for 20 months, and the whole thing with like, you know, it finally cut off to where like you had to pay your rent again. And so he went there and was like, hey man, like you haven't paid in this long, like it only was effective up until this date. Like it's to the point where like you need to at least start paying your base rent, if not like more rent than before. And the fucking dude shot the guy and fucking right in the fucking chest. Dude hit the ground, walked up to him, shot him 2 more times in the head right in front of the dude's wife, and just ran off.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Isn't
like you literally like look
crazy?
it up and shit. Like, yeah.
You know,
over rent.
So months ago or a couple months ago, I remember I talked to Jay and I was like, how do you see like what direction, kind of like about the topics of the podcast? And Jay had said that we should start talking about shit that was connected. And I told Jay, I was like, it's all connected, man. You just don't see it at
that's
first.
just an indirect cause of like the whole COVID situation.
Well,
like,
that goes
this
into
dude
it.
wasn't able to collect. Like this dude was forced to like confront this guy because 20 months of rent on a single apartment. Like,
so
that's a lot of fucking money, dude.
Was it
That
the
guy was
apartment?
sinking.
Was it the apartment owner that shot him, or the guy with the apartment that shot the owner?
No, the landlord came to collect some money from the tenant that was at the apartment, and the guy that was renting the house got pissed off that the guy was there. They got in an argument, and the guy pulled a gun out and shot him.
The guy that was renting.
The guy that was renting, yes.
Yes, this
shot the guy that owned the building.
This goes into the new age demonic possession. You see what's going on here? Why are normal people?
The guy was like young too. He was like 25, 26, had 2 kids and a wife and all this shit. And he just threw his fucking life away over it.
Yeah, for what?
Money.
It's the same idea. Well, maybe, but it's the same idea as the people still rioting and not working, down fucking living off of nothing, becoming homeless for what cause? You know what I'm saying? Portland's still fucking doing it.
People are rewarded for not having a job now. Like literally, I can go to like a housing assistant situation that would take 30% of whatever I was making. Oh, well, I'm not making anything, so there's my house for free. And then on top of that, I can go get assistance for my electricity, and they will literally pay my electric bill because I don't have an income. They'll pay for my cell phone. They'll literally pay every single one of your bills, pay for your food, like, you know, get you food stamps, do all this shit as long as you work under the table and don't have a job that you can't file anything under. Then there's people that are working 40 plus hours a month, making, you know, $8 to fucking $12 an hour, you know, under $3,000 a month. And then they have a $1,600 fucking rent bill on top of all their other fucking bills. And then they get absolutely no assistance at all. They get no insurance, they get no food stamps, they get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like almost better just to get a part-time fucking job, or not a part-time, an under the table job that's, you know, no taxes, no nothing, work 20 hours a fucking week and still have all your fucking bills paid for, and then still have enough money to get high because you made, you know, $1,000 that month just doing little fucking stupid shit.
Exactly. And that's called something in communism. That's the fuck, Jay, do you know what that is? Where you get a check every month and you don't do it's
Socialism?
called yeah, but it's the it goes with the social credit
I know what
score.
you're talking about,
It's
but I don't know what the exact term is. Yeah.
But I want to point something out. You in the past like 30 minutes we talked about a little boy that can't control himself for some reason going straight
No, this
to
guy was an old man.
No. Hold on.
Oh, what?
The
Okay.
little boy with the YouTube
Oh, yes. Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
not being able to control himself for some reason, attracted to evil naturally. The second guy you talked about had those urges with children, not being able to control himself, being attracted to evil naturally. Now, this guy being told by the media he doesn't have to pay, you know what I mean? Not being able to control himself, not fucking paying, ends up throwing his life away. I'm 150% going to assume this, going straight to acting on evil, but being pulled to evil deeds without any control of it. You see what I'm saying? Like something very bad is happening to regular people of all ages, of all backgrounds, not everybody, but it seems there's a thin line between 50-50. You know what I'm saying? Something is happening here, from a little kid to a guy in the system to a guy out of the system, a younger guy with a family. You see what I'm saying? Like there's something fucking going on here, Brandon, and you're pointing it out. But it just, like
I think
I
a lot
said,
of it just has to do with the hardships now too. Like it's a hard time to survive, and then the rampant drug use and just all the fucking stress that people go through on a normal day-to-day basis and shit. It gets to a lot of people.
but there's
And,
third
like,
world countries all
time,
over, and suicide is the lowest in third world starving countries.
We're at a time, but they appreciate their life and they're happy for what they have because they see people that they love dying all the fucking time, compared to us, where if we get the fucking car taken away at 16 years old, it's existential dread, and we fucking think our life's over, and we're bitching and whining and being depressed.
Or the phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not
It's like,
the phone, the
that's
Wi-Fi.
what I've learned a lot through mental health, is that trauma isn't based off of what happens to you. It's based off how you react to it, because not everybody's going to react to the same situation given the same circumstance. There's some people that will have their life fall to fucking pieces because they're making $100,000 a year because they were making millions before, which a lot of people, like myself included, if I was making $100,000 a year, I would be pretty fucking comfortable and I wouldn't bitch about a thing.
Oh,
to
I'd
which
be
other
so
people, that
comfortable.
would be the fucking end of their life. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Yeah.
Then again, I've seen, I had a good friend who was sexually abused by her biological father. Her little sister was, and their mom was just fucking terribly fucking abused too. She ended up killing her dad with a gun when he was sleeping.
Holy shit.
And went to prison for it when she was like 16 years old. This is a 100% true story. Wow. She's a really cool chick. I won't mention her name or anything.
Yeah.
But she's 100% normal now. She has a husband, kids. She's a fucking a mental health worker. Like, she helps like abused women that were going through the same situation that she was going through. She did all this when she was like 15, 16 years old. She killed this dude. And she is like one of the most down to earth and open people you'll ever like. She could talk about everything, about how bad she was abused, for how long, from what times, like places, what happened, why she killed her dad, her mom, like pretty much forcing her to. Her mom like framed her ass for it too, like pretty much told her to kill this dude. She killed him, and then her mom just flip flopped on her and said that her daughter was going fucking crazy. Testified against her.
Wow.
You live in a fucking Twilight Zone, my friend.
No, she was. Yeah, she was. This was like years ago. This is when I was with my ex Kendra, the first Kendra. It was one of
Oh.
her sister's friends. But
That's crazy, man. You know
Yeah.
a lot of fucking fucked up people, dude. I
I
think
just know a lot of people. I just run around all the time.
yeah. Well, you're like in the business of like helping fucked up people too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's
Oh
good.
yeah, for
I
sure.
think that's your thing, dude. Maybe
That's
I just
you're,
like to
your,
talk to people too, so I find out a lot more than most people usually put off.
you're easy to talk to too, and you're funny as fuck.
Yeah.
And no one will fight you. You're like the perfect fucking
No.
therapist.
They definitely will, dude.
They'll try.
Nah, dude. I just got done. I went to it was actually a lot of fun. There's a guy, he fought in the UFC. His name's Rick Story. He fought actually 19 times in the UFC. I just went to his house for Thanksgiving. It was fucking awesome, dude.
That sounds so
really,
fucking
really cool, dude. Cool, dude. Oh yeah, it was fun. It was fun as fuck. He would probably agree with a lot of the shit that we talk about on here too.
That's awesome. You should fucking give him the shit.
I will, yeah.
Let him listen. This is good. I like this back and forth stuff. I'm gonna hit another story real quick, and then we'll fucking swing back if we still got some going there.
Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good.
So Danny Gordon was a radio personality who became interested in a flurry of Wythe County UFO sightings. Multiple people across the county claimed to have seen bizarre objects in the sky, and Gordon decided to investigate. Gordon became obsessed with getting photos of the objects, including one time where an entire school bus of students saw the UFOs fly over a shopping mall as Gordon took photos. Eventually, Gordon snapped a few photos at extremely close range that allegedly verified they were not of this world. However, strange things began to happen to Gordon. He received a phone call from a man who claimed to be ex-military and warned him that his research could cost him everything and urged him to stop for his family's sake. Gordon was also interviewed by two men in black suits who claimed to work for a magazine publication. Not long after the interview, Gordon realized that all of his photos were missing. He contacted the magazine for information, and they claimed to have never heard of him, much less commissioned an article about him. Not long after, Gordon suffered a heart attack, and his doctor warned him that all the research and stress was jeopardizing his health. Gordon gave up the story and was never bothered again. Heart attack gun. Heart attack gun. Heart attack gun. So that's a weird one, guys.
Yeah.
He literally got interviewed or whatever from news, did stories, and then all of a sudden it got disappeared, dropped, and everything. So that kind of shows you, though, too, how the media has always been in the back pocket, which is the biggest. It is such a good plan. If you were like, I own these ants in this anthill, and the ants want rights, I'm going to give them rights. One of the rights I'm going to get them is that they get to talk, and that not only do they get the talk, they get the ability to have a bigger voice where they get to hear what I want to tell them, and they get to be told what I want to tell them through these, businesses or outlets called the media, right? And pretty much it's just one way for me to put out my shit, whatever I want them to hear and know and believe as true, by covering it with this overlay of things just like those ants, telling the ants that this is what's going on, even though it comes from me directly. And if at any moment any ant decides to go against the grain of what I'm saying, I can pluck his ass out and have the entire main media source turn around against him. Very fucking interesting, if you ask me. Weird, right? No, that didn't happen. This didn't happen. We have no records of that happening. The media has been fucking controlled by the government ever since it came out, boys.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. We're living in history these days with independent media. It's fucking brilliant. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like whether we get a real good following or anything, this shit could be here forever. You know what I mean? Forever. And we can say whatever the hell we want, you know,
Yeah.
unless we get big and then YouTube's going to take us down. I keep saying that shit too. I'm like, I know. Is there some people that are like, definitely won't go on YouTube? You know, like, or they're removed later years. And then there's some people that like totally work with YouTube's vibe. And then there's like us, man. And I'm like, fuck you, YouTube. And once the voice is big enough for them to hear, they're gonna boop. But you know what? We got many other places to be at. So, you know, and it does not take more than like $20 to make a fucking website. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. But if either of you end up making enough money to buy YouTube, we should totally buy YouTube.
I don't
Or
know.
create a company. No, because Google and YouTube, create a company that's comparable to it, but better.
I prefer to buy Google, so I own everything else below
Oh,
them.
fuck. How much money would that cost?
Just buy Disney while you're at it.
Fuck Disney. If I bought Disney, I'd burn that shit to the ground tomorrow.
Well, they own everything, though.
I'd get one of those helicopters with the buckets, fill it with fucking gasoline, and go drizzle that shit all over the top of every fucking place Disney owns. Oh my god. Yeah, that's like that it actually goes correspondingly to the Men in Black. So allegedly Disney created multiple movies, but one being Frozen, and it's because you type in Disney Frozen, it shows you that movie Frozen, and it's Disney's Frozen head allegedly is what they're covering, because there's a whole other topic on that. But one with the Men in Black is that they made the Men in Black movies to completely fucking shit show the Men in Black. So it's like they were done doing their Men in Black shit, and they're like, we got to cover this the fuck up so it never comes on Earth. What do we do? Make a movie. Because you type in Men in Black, real anything. You type in anything, and it's all conformed to the fucking movies. Like the movies were huge. The first one might have been huge. After that, fuck them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying they were bad, but like to be covering the entire internet, you type in Men in Black, and it's anything. It's not just Men in Black. It's Men in Black. You know, like true. Like confrontate or anything like story, any of it, and it's like just loaded with from the movie's propaganda. It's crazy. All right, so yeah, Brandon, they're creating a fucking army of fucking pedophiles and evil shit, and it goes hand in hand. I don't know. We're bridging the gap here between. Like every day we're seeing more and more and more of this shit, man. I mean, why are they introducing these weird masturbation books into fucking schools and shit? Like in, yes, very giant liberal states, but it's got to start fucking somewhere, all sorts of shit. Like there's that one book that was talking about some gay guy wrote it. He talked about sucking his friend off when they were like 12 years old and shit. And it's a book describing this shit.
What did you just say? What book?
I don't know what I can't remember what it's called. But it's a book that's written by like some gay dude, I'm guessing. And it's like deeply describing very horrifically in detail about like him and as a kid and him sucking his dick and shit. And he was like sucking his friend's dick at like 12 years old and shit. And this book is in fucking schools in these giant liberal shithole fucking cities. For kids in like elementary and middle school grade. And there's other books talking about like masturbating and shit. And there was a fucking cartoon I saw that I showed my neighbor, because my neighbor's like, found out my neighbor, this old guy, he smoked a ton of weed, found out he was a fucking lefty. And we got to the point about like, so do you believe that? I was like, so you actually believe that Biden won the election? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, you're right, we can't talk politics. But he was like, I don't believe that they have fucking cartoons teaching kids to fucking masturbate. So I'm like, here's the fucking front news story. Here's the fucking cartoon. And it's sitting there teaching kids how to fucking jerk their fucking shit and shit. Dude, it's fucked up, man. I looked it up and showed it.
The gay Santa Claus one?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, they have a commercial with Santa Claus making out with another guy.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because Santa Claus doesn't have a Mrs. Claus or anything. Well, it's like that new Cinderella movie, right?
Yeah.
And Santa is targeted for like, if you're 8 years old, 7, 8 years old, you don't believe in Santa anymore. It's literally targeted for like 6 or 7 year olds. Like,
I
you don't fuck
know,
with Santa.
dude. I gotta fight my fucking kid for it too. Yeah, I know. Because they go to fucking school or wherever, and there's all these kids talking shit. Yeah, it's true. And it's like you know, you raise your kid how you want, and I guess you could put them in certain schools, but it's like it just takes one bad fucking apple, which is not the kid, it's the parents. It just takes one bad fucking parent to ruin a fucking kid to go to school and start, you know, trying to ruin other fucking kids.
Mhm.
It's all it takes these days, and it's crazy. Or like the YouTube shit. Oh, I can, I do it too. My kids watch YouTube, but if I ever catch them watching some weird fucking evil shit, I fucking freak out, and
Yeah, same here.
so they know. I mean, it's not hard to come by at all,
I actually prefer them watching TV over that stuff.
I'd rather them
That's the
watch
thing is like I
Netflix.
told their parents about it, and then I like realized like she's bought them like toys that are associated with it, so like they don't even care too.
Yeah. Which I have a problem like with kids believing in weird shit like that because of tulpas, which is the Native Americans have believed in forever. It goes all around the entire world as tulpas. I mean, the jinn could be fucking tulpas. Ghosts and spirits could be tulpas. You believe in our consciousness creates our reality. So you believe in something hard enough or enough people fucking believe in it, it becomes real, and honestly, I think there was enough people praying for Kyle Rittenhouse that he got the verdict he'd fucking deserved because I was worried about it.
Yeah.
Like I've watched so many fucking losses in the past 2 years that I was like, I know it's right, but I honestly have this gut feeling that once again, it's just like, I don't know, it's like a godless world is what it feels like.
Well, with the Kyle trial, all the evidence was just in plain sight. Like you'd have to be mentally retarded to not understand everything he did was self-defense. It's
Well, and the
all
prosecutor was literally like explaining self-defense to a T, like that was supposed to like get the kid convicted.
yeah.
Like it made no sense. I didn't get his angle at all.
Yeah, that too. Like I I don't know why they went after him in the first place because I think they knew they were going in losing the battle because they had nothing against him, but they're trying to make a story so it pins him as the bad guy.
Yeah, for real. And I don't know, much worse than that. I mean, they didn't go the whole race way, but that they were betting on it.
Yeah.
Too, which if you look at it, it's all a bunch of fucking white people dealing with a bunch of white people and a bunch of white people. There's a guy was trying to sell out his own fucking race for a fucking raise, and he's a shitty goddamn prosecutor. You know what I mean? Watching that fucking, what's his fucking name, man? I don't.
The only people that weren't
Binger?
white were the people that
Yeah,
owned the
Binger.
businesses that were attacked.
Yeah.
Well, and I was like reading in on it, and I saw that article by fucking somebody, ABC or some shit, I can't remember. And there was a black business owner or former black business owner, I'm pretty sure his business got burned down. He's like, yeah, I fucking helped organize the protests, which you can't call them fuck protests because they're riots. He helped.
I thought you meant he was formerly black.
No, no, he thinks he's black. I don't know. He's black for sure, but he helped organize the riots, and then he's bitching about how how it's racist and it's white supremacy is the reason that their neighborhoods, the black neighborhoods and the black businesses, haven't been rebuilt after they themselves burnt it the fuck down last year. And then was talking shit about Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm like, are you fucking what is going on in these people's fucking brains? You know what I mean? I'm gonna burn my own shit down, and then I'm gonna blame Whitey for not building it back so I can burn it down again if Kyle Rittenhouse gets killed. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what in the fuck is going on through these people? And I just realized, I'm like, it's not just black people, it's a lot, like, it's every race. And right now it's really showing there's totally like a close 50-50 on this shit. People are just low life fucking loser scum that want to blame all their shitty fucking decisions on everything but themselves. You know what I mean? And that's why they're still doing this shit, is because it's got to be someone else's fault but mine, right? It's got to be somebody else's fault. It's got to be the white man's fault. It's got to be, you know, Trump's fault. You see the left media, they're still talking shit about Trump. Bitch, please. You know what I mean? Trump's fault. We're fucking paying, you know, twice as much for fucking gas right now. You know, it's Trump's fault. Fucking, we left all that shit in Afghanistan. It's Trump's fault the fucking migrants are in cages, you know, like fuck,
It's
you.
Trump's fault that Biden's in office.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know. That might be true. I don't know. That one might be actually fucking Trump's fault. I don't know. It's fucking crazy, man. The shit that is just going on, and the shit that just continues to go on.
I think the only way for all of this, like all of this manipulation through media and whatnot goes away is for the media to actually die away, for these big techs to essentially disappear. Because if YouTube disappears, no one will be able to put up content that manipulates kids. If the mainstream media disappears, they won't be able to put up propaganda, right? Even the local news, like if they go away, or their like headquarters somewhere where they're getting their stories from, if that goes away, they only can report on local news, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, little Timmy got a hit and run because this drunk driver came by right after the football game and was stupidly driving and hit little Timmy. Use that 5, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, oh, Kyle Rittenhouse was racist. He was using an AR-15, using bazooka bullets, and it magically hit 5 other people behind him. You know?
Yeah, he's asking them why he didn't have a pistol instead of a fucking rifle. It's like, because they're illegal, dumbass.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and fucking, yeah, fuck him for asking stupid questions. He also tried to say he was shooting his gun with his left hand. I mean, he's like, why didn't you do warning shots too? Why didn't you shoot warning shots above the crowd? Why didn't you fight the guy with your? I mean, they had no argument at all.
Yeah.
It was just a fucking media case, which is so fucking. I don't know. We need to reformat some shit with this country. I know it's not perfect, but I mean, the way it's going, like, it's going to shit. But I got some ideas on the next fucking one. You know what I mean? I got some great ideas. Like, if you publicize something to the point that you're only charging this person for fucking clicks and likes and views, and you know what I mean? Like, that's a fucking problem. You know, like, the prosecutor's only there for his own benefit. He doesn't give a fuck about that kid. About the truth. He gives a fuck about winning. It was a Hail Mary is what it was. And they were hoping that the fucking jury was fucked up enough to go with it. Just to put this kid, who cares about that 17-year-old kid? He can go spend the rest of his life in prison. I'm going to get a fucking raise, you know? And that's fucked up. And when it comes to like media and news, I don't know. I think it should all be based on this independent shit. That's what I think. I think there should be one company has 100 journalists just go out and cover, and it's all fucking independent, and they can't be bought off because I don't know, maybe they only work off the subscriptions. Like, what the problem is now is that, like, with mainstream media, is that all of them, even Fox, but all of them are like, CNN is way worse off, but they're losing so much fucking money that these big, like, the fucking drug companies are buying off like CNN. They fund them, so therefore they're going to say whatever the fuck that company wants, no matter what's going on. It's not independent media, it's not the news, it's not the truth, it's whatever boss guy that's paying my fucking bills wants me to say is said. And that's the problem with the media. So I think right now is actually a really good opportunity for like an independent kind of shit to go do it. You know what I mean? And to be 100% transparent. Doesn't matter what you talk about, what you say, your opinions, just be 150% transparent. And just look at the camera and go, I don't know, Jay, but this is what happened, and it looks pretty fucked up to me, but everyone else can make their own decisions about it. Instead of all that fucking, they talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about it. It's like, just show the fucking proof. Just show the main talking points and be like, well, this is what happened, guys. Signing off. Like, let the people think about it. You know what I mean? Like, let the people don't fuck. It's all the words and shit in between that people, the talking points, dude, and they repeat it. You hear them from the left and right. They repeat it back to each other. Whether it's right or wrong, don't matter. It's not the point. It's the fact that they're like being directed to have an opinion and a viewpoint on a subject, and they shouldn't be. It should just be like, if you were there, like, this is what happened. Take what you will and leave the fucking rest. Make your own fucking decision on it. If I see something different than you, that's fine. That's our viewpoint. That's our thought process. But don't allow someone in front of a fucking camera and 10 pounds of makeup tell you what to fucking think about it. You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy, the world that we're in today when it comes to the media. The media is supposed to be like the view, like the portal to what's going on bigger in the world where you're not at. It's not supposed to be like, look at it from this closed-eyed, angle, and this is what you get kind of shit. Believe me. It shouldn't be a believe me thing. No, it should be like, this is what I got for you. Here it is. Figure it out. All right. So I got another one for you guys. You guys ready? Y'all ready for this?
Yeah.
So UFO researcher Jack Robinson and his wife Mary began to experience extremely strange events as they pursued more alien and UFO related research. They would come home to find their house rummaged and looked through, and their UFO files disturbed. Mary also began to notice a strange man in a black suit and hat staring up at their apartment from the doorway. Mary mentioned this activity to a friend who drove over and saw what she was talking about for herself. The friend, Tim Green Beckley, snapped a photo of the man, which is believed to be one of the most ironclad pieces of proof of the Men in Black. That video is online, or picture, is online as well. I know one of these days we got to do video pods so I can show you guys the shit. I got to learn a little bit more though. Not entirely sure how that works. Can't be that hard though. Another one, Professor Peter. Oh shit, I can't say that. Rojcewicz, Rojcewicz, claims that he was reading a UFO book in the library when a strange pale man wearing all black sat down next to him. The man began talking to the professor and asked him about his opinion on flying saucers. The professor replied that he wasn't super interested, and the man became very agitated. He eventually left, leaving Professor Rojcewicz extremely uncomfortable, and anxious. He did not reveal the story until many years later when he finally gave a lecture on the subject. He remains convinced that it was a Men in Black official who confronted him in the library, and to this day is trying to find more people who have had similar experiences. So what is this? You know what I mean? It's like they show up as ghouls or spirits or something. You know what I mean? Honestly, like the activity, if these stories are real, to me, it seems kind of like alien, you know? Like, oh, this guy's super smart. He's reading a book on UFOs. It's almost like they're like this one seems like they're like, say something about it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, what do you think about that book you're reading? And the guy's just like, oh, I don't really care. The guy gets mad and like leaves. I mean, that's weird, right? Of course it's weird, but it doesn't make any fucking sense. None of it. I don't think they're robots. And I had a theory too, that maybe they were like long lost Nazis from a very cold place on this planet that have been gene altering for about 40, 50, 60 years at that time and had been doing some stuff, and that maybe the UFOs could have been partially Nazi technology, and sometimes they're telling them to shut the fuck up, and other times they're like, why aren't you talking about it? And if they have evidence, they're like, nope, get rid of that. Stir up the pot, not too much though. So this is a very famous one from not very long ago, and it's with Dan Aykroyd, which he came forward with his story about how he was taping a show about the paranormal and UFOs specifically. And he had stepped out to take a phone call from Britney Spears, who was asking him to appear on Saturday Night Live with her, when he noticed a black Ford parked across the street. A tall man stepped out of the Ford and stared him down. Aykroyd turned away for a moment and then turned back to find that the man in the car had completely vanished. After he finished his phone call, he returned to the studio to learn that his show had been canceled and he was ordered to stop filming immediately. Some doubt his claim, but he says that he knew what he saw and maintains that there was some kind of connection between these men in black and the end of his paranormal show. So it says paranormal show, but this was specifically about UFOs, which is, it's really weird. This one, it's like the last big sighting of it. And it was famous. They were like post-production and about to start like filming some sort of very important interview or some shit, or do something very important with the show. And they were getting ready for it. That was going to happen here soon. Like, this doesn't talk about it. And then, yeah, he like stepped outside. Britney Spears called, which is very interesting, that it being Britney, right? It in its of itself. And then, yeah, there's a guy in a black suit standing there staring at him, mean mugging him, and then gets in the truck and leaves. And then, yeah, he gets told, nope, show's done, we're done, after all the money that I put in it. So I'm not entirely sure what the Men in Black actually are, but they obviously are connected to something. And by descriptions of them, they may not be human. They could be aliens. It could be robots, cyborgs. Could be time travelers. And I like the time traveler perspective of it, honestly. When you look at it, seems that people are trying to stop it, because it does. They say that it could be people trying, like government agents trying to stop mass hysteria in certain points. And you look at like how there's no definitive proof of like aliens entirely, other than firsthand accounts, but there's no like, here's the fucking proof right in front of you at this moment that we have. And now the government's talking about, yeah, UFOs are real and shit. So it's almost like it has to be saved to a perfect time. Now, whether these time travelers are for the people's best interest or the not so good interest is, you know, up for discussion, but something's going on here, you guys. Yeah, so that's the Men in Black shit that I brought you. I figured we'd hit those before hitting any other alien stuff. And Brandon has pointed out to me 3 of the creepiest looking people on the goddamn planet.
Yeah.
But is he still here? Computer's freezing. Don't do it. Don't do it, computer.
He's here. I see him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here, but I'm in a warehouse. I'm like cleaning up a little bit, so it's super loud, so I'm muted.
Oh, gotcha. That's all right, Brandon. We love you. All right, Jay. Throw me out a topic. We got to talk about something. Unless you have any theories on these men in black.
No, I don't.
The men in black. Wish I could play
Yeah,
that song.
I don't. Other than those Roswell, History Channel type of TV shows that they put out those info, I don't really know much about them.
Yeah, that's a mystery. Is there's like not a whole lot about them.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. It's funny because all the naysayers are like every single one of these stories is bullshit. And that's what they said about UFOs, right? Every single one of these people are crazy hillbilly fucks that are bullshit. Same thing with Sasquatch, right?
Yeah.
Seems the only problem between that is the amount of people that have seen them or dealt with them. However, how many people were about to find or enter some shit they weren't supposed to? You know what I mean? Why is it that the people most dedicated and with allegedly actual proof of these UFOs existing are the ones confronted by these men in black? And it was laughed off for years and years and years as propaganda. These people are called fucking crazy. And then all of a sudden, our government turns around and admits the existence. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fucking weird. Are they going to be like, yeah, they're not going to talk about the men in black. But if the same people, if people alive that have dealt with these fucking people are saying like, yeah, it's still fucking true after the government acknowledges the existence of unidentified flying objects, then yeah, but I don't know. Are they demons? Are they whatever? The mystery goes on. All right.
Need sound effects.
Right, and I love making sound effects. Brandon, this Jimmy Seville guy is a fucking weirdo. I gotta delete him off my shit. I can't do it, man. I keep clicking back to my web browser and he's just sitting there smiling at me and I'm punching him in the fucking face. I'm like, get off my screen, you fucking creep. And I realize I'm the one doing it, I'm like, fuck. Oh, something's not responded. Come on. Don't do this to me. All right, Jay, give me a topic, bro. Let's talk about something. Gotta give the people what they want.
Drawing up a blank.
Should we talk about Egypt and those fucking light bulbs?
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
No, you don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
How dare you not know what I'm talking about? Fuck, I just was talking to my brother about this too. It's crazy. He's like, I don't know, man. Oh no. I'm like, of course you don't fucking know. None of us know. It's called the Dendera light. Go to Wikipedia. Wikipedia is gonna poo-poo all over my shit. So yeah, it was now they try to depict it as Harsomatus in the form of a snake emerging from a lotus flower is what they do. But if you look up the picture, it's definitely a fucking light bulb or some sort of glass kind of energy core. And it's got a fucking wire to it too, is the thing, and it's going into like this bottom thing into the pyramid. It looks like a fucking generator to me. But allegedly the pyramids, well, not allegedly, this is actual fact, proven fact. The top of the pyramids were covered in gold. All right. And that the pyramids, so they like to say that mummies were found in the pyramids like they were burial tombs. Incorrect. Never was a mummy actually found like inside of a pyramid. That's not what they are. And if you notice in the pictures of Egyptians, they were tall. So the idea is that these beings were actually that tall. It wasn't just raised giant. So that what the pyramids are. And if you look at on a map on like Aztec pyramids and all over the world, these pyramids align right on the fucking those lines.
Ley lines.
Yes. And that is actually some sort of generators, each one perfectly like aligned with each other to create some sort of energy field. I don't know if they're shooting the moon with it, or I don't know what it is, but so lightning would come from the top and hit the pyramid from the top, or maybe shoot out from top. I'm not entirely sure.
Did you ever see like all the people who died that were affiliated with digging up King Tut's tomb?
No, is that a fucking thing?
Yes.
Oh, dude, like almost every single person that went into his tomb died from like something mysterious, and under like I think it was like 6 or 7 years, like almost every single person that went in died from something random.
Go ahead and tell me it was a fucking curse and not the government covering up.
I have no fucking clue, but you'd have to look more into it because it's something I haven't looked into in a long time. But they were trying to say that it would like part of it could have been like to like some of the air that they were exposed to like hadn't been like properly ventilated in such a long time that it could have been something to do with that. But there was like people that had like random accidents happen and shit like that too. And like the same thing with remember the what's his name, Utsi or something like that, the Iceman. Remember when they found that Iceman preserved in the ice, and then a whole bunch of people that
No shit.
were involved with relocating this Iceman that they found like ended up dying. Like a shit ton of people that took this Iceman out of his like where they found him at. I can't remember the exact name of it, but you'd have to look it up. There's like a couple different instances like that where it's like it was an astronomical event, like with the amount of people that died that were associated with just that single thing or those two single things by themselves.
That's gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
That's gnarly.
I think you're kind of right. Where when they open the tomb, like it's just old air, and then I guess when they put the body in, they didn't really seal it, so it's just rotting flesh.
Yeah.
And then like bacteria, mold starts going into the air. So once someone goes in, they start breathing that stuff. It starts like affecting and infecting their body, their brains, kind of
but
thing.
gas expands.
There was another thing, not when it's trapped though. When it's trapped in underground though, it might be a little different too.
I think that it would be fucking rotten from the inside.
Yeah.
To the I don't know.
Another thing that I seen a while ago and I haven't really looked into in the last couple of years. I don't know if they've like dug deeper into it, but they they found like under the Sphinx and shit like that. You know how like before they weren't allowed to like do anything with them. I guess like under the foot, they found like a stairway. So like the giant Sphinx that people think that are like just like for looks and shit, I guess they're like hollowed out inside and actually like have shit inside of them. And the Egyptian government like won't allow anybody to like desecrate pretty much the Sphinx and shit like that. But they took like little tiny miniature cameras and like drilled into them, and they've like pretty much confirmed that there is like something inside of them, but they aren't going to pretty much allow anybody to figure out what it is.
Of course not.
Yeah,
because they probably fucking know what it is.
Another thing about the Sphinx that I know, I've been hearing it quite a lot in the past. So supposedly there's a room underneath the Sphinx.
yeah.
I think more than 200 feet down. But this room is supposedly like a high-tech chamber that keeps a whole bunch of ancient knowledge, like preserved kind of thing. And I guess there's a doorway blocking people from getting in. And so I guess the rumor is it's not time for humanity to go in and look at the knowledge kind of thing. So
I think it's pretty naive to think this is the first time that we've found out like about electricity and shit like that. Like we only know of like a small fraction of time, like
Atlantis and Tartaria.
Yeah.
Ooh, and another thing about the Sphinx, it predates the whole Egypt pharaoh thing. It was there before them. The evidence is there where when you look at the Sphinx, there's water erosion around it or on
Oh,
it.
I remember hearing about this. Yeah, and it
Yeah,
wouldn't have
and
happened unless it was like through some odd era where there was water erosion at that point in time.
yeah, and when the pharaohs, the whole Egypt pharaoh dynasty thing was around, it was already a desert, right? So
Um,
yeah, where's that water coming from?
also, also weren't the pyramids covered in like some sort of like white stone? Like I can't remember what it was, but I guess the pyramids were like reflective,
I think it was
and the
limestone
wind
or
erosion.
granite.
Yeah, I think it was limestone that it was covered in, and they were like completely like I think they were completely white or something like that.
Mhm.
And like just the wind erosion and shit over time like exposed the rock underneath.
Yeah, but I don't believe that. Like wind alone can't erode stone
With the
that
sand and shit
quickly.
though, you think?
Um, Granite and limestone, they're pretty hard. I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
see sandstorms, but um, unless they're blowing like at hurricane force winds, they won't be able to erode
yeah,
that
for sure.
in that short amount of time. Like just think about those sandblasters stripping paint.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah,
They're going real quick, shooting out that nozzle, and then it's actually stripping out that stuff. And that's only what um really thin paint layer. If you're lucky, it's
yeah,
like
yeah, for
super
sure.
thick, but then you got to go a whole bunch of passes. So
Yeah,
I don't buy that wind theory with erosion and the sand. It has to, if that's true, then it's gonna be way older than 10,000 years, like way
for
older
sure.
if that happened.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
find out.
There's also some speculation around the Great Pyramids. Um, People claim that the Egyptians stood them up, right? But there's actual evidence around the Great Pyramids that there's structures that tries to mimic the scale and size and I guess the grandeur of the Great Pyramids. Um, that is period correct to the Egyptians when they had their civilizations around. And when you look at those structures, they look like shit. They don't look like any. They don't look anything like the Great Pyramids. They're like mini. It's like the Las Vegas pyramids. They're really small. They're not as cool as the originals kind of thing. And you know it was built by someone that didn't know what they're doing.
I am so fucking confused. Um, so I'm looking at something. Anyway, hold on. I gotta cover this fucking pyramid shit. So the bottom of the pyramid as a generator, all of them, they go into the earth, and the earth has enough electricity underneath it from the vibrations of the rock and the crust and the core underneath, allegedly, unless it's hollow, um, that it vibrates enough to create an electrical response and therefore goes to the top of the pyramid via the gold tip and then was somehow used to do something which could possibly have been some sort of craft. There was that guy in Egypt that actually created the sun worshipping cult or religion, which like predates fucking everything, where he was walking on like along the Nile or somewhere, and then a flying saucer, actually, and this is recorded, a saucer disc in the sky came above him, and he saw it, and it started talking to him in his head, and it told him to turn around and create a religion based on the sun behind the mountains, and he went back and created it, and that's pretty much what started the whole um creation of what we now know as Egyptian history.
Mhm.
And that's a story on that. But I was wondering, because you said the Sphinx predates Egypt, and that
Yeah.
it had water markings from way before, but what if it used to not be in Egypt? And then I started looking at like Noah of the Ark and the flooding, right?
I can.
And they're kind of around the same fucking BC years as each other in some sort of way. But my theory
I can
on,
see that if someone moved it. I can see
yeah,
that.
as in it fucking floated there, and that's where this shit ended up.
Okay, so this is going way beyond and going into like conspiracy theory slash alien UFO. So, um, can you guys tell me how the desert in Egypt appeared?
The desert in Egypt.
Yeah, how did it become a desert? Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't always a desert.
No, wasn't it tropical paradise?
Kind of, sort of, yeah. There used to be like, what is that movie? The Mummy.
Mm-hmm. That movie
How,
was made too to fucking throw us all off and think that fucking pharaohs were buried in pyramids.
yeah, but like in that movie, it alluded to the like the desert having like these forests. Remember those scenes where they're just running through random forests, trees and
Yeah,
stuff?
and the little fucking monkey things were chasing them.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like why would that be in the middle of the desert? Like in modern times, like there's like very little trees there. It's just structure, stone, sand, very little water kind of thing. But
Mm-hmm.
what if way back then it wasn't all sand? It was like a forest kind of thing.
Right.
And then something happened and then it turned it into sand. And the
What
conspiracy
happened?
theory about it is um whoever they were, not the Egyptians, but whoever that was in power or whatever civilization was there, they were in they were at war with someone, and supposedly they used nukes or nuke type bombs against each other.
Are you fucking telling me that the Egyptians
No, not the Egyptians, like the
right
civilization before
before,
them.
yeah, but right before was literally, are we talking about Tartaria right now?
I don't know.
As well as the fucking the Aquaman. Come on, what is it called? I keep losing it. You know what I'm
Aquaman?
talking about?
No. Namor?
No,
Namor?
no, the super.
Atlantis?
Yes, there you go. That one. Yeah, that.
No.
And they're enemies.
Well, I'm not sure if they're involved, but
I
basically,
love being
like,
the dumb guy in the group that doesn't know any of this stuff. I've learned so much.
so basically, there was a big war, and then the reason why it's a desert now in Egypt is because of all of those bombs and nukes that went off. And have you heard of glass being in the desert?
Well, that's where glass comes from.
From like
Is
lightning
sand.
and shit like that, like lightning in the sand,
No, so there's like there's green,
or
black
any form of
glass in the desert in Egypt.
And that comes from fucking different
high heat
places around
exposure,
the
isn't
world.
it?
Yeah, high heat exposure. So
So like a
if
nuke.
if bombs or nukes went off, that they could literally turn sand into glass kind of thing.
Is that what this fucking Dendera light is? You guys got to type this in. You got to look this shit up. Dendera light.
Hmm.
This is starting to look more and more like a weapon the more we talk about it. I'm not going to lie. He's holding it like a fucking weapon. A lightning rod. Could shoot lightning out of the fucking end of it.
What is it called again?
Dendera light.
Dendera.
Dendera light. And don't just look at the first picture. You gotta fucking look at the other pictures too, because I had to start digging, and I'm like, no, this looks like a fucking light bulb. My brother's like, oh, no, no. And then there's other ones, other pictures of it in fucking shit, and people have remade it and shit. And honestly, what it reminds me of is Tesla's fucking coils, dude. The fucking Tesla coil, dude.
Yeah.
That's
can
why
see
I
that.
want you to watch that show, The Colony. There's a guy on there that makes something like that.
Out of fucking like nothing. I know. I watched him make a windmill, and I was like, I'm gonna die. I was like, there's no fucking way I'm making a windmill, man. You know,
You watch a little bit of that show?
yeah, well, yeah, on YouTube I did. I pulled it up, and I was like, fuck, these people are smart.
Yeah, that old man on there, dude. Like he knows his shit for sure.
Yeah, I was like, I could just shoot people or stab them. I can build a fucking windmill. I don't think I had that conversation at work today where my boss looked at his mom and she's like, I want to move to the woods. And he's like, what are you going to do? Hunt? And she's like, well, you need some propane, a bunch of propane out there. And I was like, he's like, yeah. And then the propane goes out and there's none left. And I was like, fucking wood.
Yeah.
Fucking wood. That's all you
all
need.
around.
Yeah.
People need to fucking lose the goddamn fucking, like the YouTube, the Wi-Fi, the phone, the shit you need to survive. And it looks like Egyptians were doing a lot more
Well,
than that.
people don't understand that seasons are necessary if you want to sustain living in an environment like that. Like, of course, the winters are going to suck, but if you want there to be water in the rivers, and for there to be fish, and for there to be grass and shit, you're going to have to go through all that terrible winter
Yeah.
to stay in the summer. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, people don't
that's how shit
realize they're
works.
like, I'm gonna hunt, and I'm like, people have forgotten this beautiful art that stopped starvation a very long time ago, and it's called trapping. And
Oh, yeah.
people stop
sure.
doing that, and trapping, you will literally fucking survive.
See, that's what I wanted to go over a lot more, and like what I initially thought the podcast would be a lot about, is like more of like the survival aspect of like after the fact, what would happen, what you can do. And
I
how you
keep
can prepare
thinking about it. I
for
just don't know how to
now.
present it. You know what I mean? Like, because talking about how to like
Well,
do
yeah, maybe
this
that's
and that.
something I should work on a little bit, and maybe I should present it for once.
If you
Yeah.
could, that would be fucking
Yeah.
amazing. I can't wrap my mind around trying to explain how to do this shit without showing. You know what I mean? Like I could show
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's
pictures
hard.
but I can't explain this shit is what it is. And it's like, because
I'll do a little bit of research and try to find, because it's such a broad subject that I can go over a couple topics for an hour or two. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm
as far as like,
down.
like preservation of like certain things like meat and like eggs and shit like that. Like you could line
Mhm.
glass eggs to make it so eggs that would normally just last a couple days will last like a year or two, because they have a fucking a glass filament pretty much on the outside that you can make with just a couple basic ingredients.
That's
And
gnarly.
like it's just like small stuff like that people used to do, like we talked about before, with like the root cellars and just like the canning and the fucking the pressure cooking, all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how people used to do things, and there's a lot of different ways to survive. Like just learning basic knots, like learning how to tie knots and shit. That kind of stuff just seems so stupid. But just sitting there for a couple hours and learning how to tie 8 different kinds of basic knots for different scenarios can literally save your life.
Yeah. And I've been
Just
planning
stupid shit like that.
sorry. I've fucking been planning in my head like how to build like it could be permanent or not permanent, but like long-term shelter in my head. Like I've been doing it. I haven't written anything down, but it's all right there. Because I remembered like me and Jace at one point talking about like, I was like, you don't need those electric generators if you're gonna go build shit out in the woods. And he's like, well, what if
No.
you want to drill? And I was like, so then I started thinking about shit like you're not gonna fucking use a drill anyway. And I started building this fucking shelter in my head, and I've been adding more and more to it as I think about it. Pretty much it involves digging a big trench, a big wide trench out in the middle of the woods, cutting fucking logs down, placing it over the top, right? Fill in the gaps, tighten them with fucking rope or whatever the fuck you want, getting them really close, pitching them, all that shit. Like just shoving it full of fucking whatever, and then burying it over a fucking trench, logs over a trench.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, dude, you got a fucking, you can't see the shelter at all because the door is even lower than fucking the regular ground people would walk on. I mean, it's, I have this big fucking idea in my head of like this shit would work. You know what I mean? You're using the shit from the ground to heat and cool your fucking.
Yeah. Well, one major thing though is the ground will win like the heat versus cold scenario every single time, and the ground will like maintain like a super cold temperature. So like getting off of the ground and away from the ground is like definitely like off like number
Well, I
one.
mean, you
on,
could
like,
put floors in it. You could do
things you need to
walls,
do too.
but just to like cover.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
they were
yeah.
like doing area surveillance,
Definitely.
you're not above ground. You're not sticking up,
Oh yeah,
and you could have
for sure.
you could have fucking a fire in it too, and you could make it so it like the smoke just barely comes out the top, and then by
Yeah.
the time it goes up 6 feet, it's gone. You know what I mean? Like I've been thinking about all this shit. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
we could build
Just have
this, and
ventilation systems and shit
you,
like that.
yeah, you don't need any power tools for this shit. I mean, this is like real survival too. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking about animals and all sorts of shit. I'm like, dude, this should be a fortress
Well,
underneath the
it's
fucking
fairly
ground.
simple if you could find a place that has like the proper foliage. Like some areas are going to be extremely hard to build a shelter. Like for example, like if we went to like the spray area where we're at in the middle of the desert,
Yeah,
it's going to be super difficult. But if we go the other direction in like the Mountain Wilderness Range or
right.
like
With
up
fuck
up
tons of
where
trees
there's a
and
lot of
shit.
trees,
Mm-hmm.
you can just find like a couple year sapling and pretty much just fucking bend that motherfucker in half and then
Mm-hmm.
strap it to another tree, and you have a basic fucking a leaning, or what do they call it? I think it's just like a lean shelter pretty much, with just a fucking branch tied to a tree, and you're fucking done. You pretty much just have some supports and you throw some shit on the fucking outside and you get yourself off the ground, and there you go. Like
Right.
it's like a good starting shelter to get you pretty much off the ground and just pretty much a little bit of heat that is not going to like completely blow out your energy, because like
That's
when you're in a
even with no
situation like that, you
tools.
want something nice. Yeah, exactly. But
I'm
you want
thinking,
something
I was
nice and you
thinking
want
like
it like
one
really quickly,
chainsaw
but
with
it's
a
like an
couple gallons of
energy.
gas.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. But a lot of the times you're not going to have, you can't carry that shit around and you can't haul that stuff. You're not going to have, like, there's so many scenarios where you're like, oh, I'll just have this. But like in all reality, you're not. You're going to have, hopefully, if you're lucky, a couple feet of cordage that you could use to tie some shit down,
Right.
and maybe whatever you have at your disposal, a knife, a hatchet, whatever it may be. Like that's what a lot of people have to work with. It's just a very few amount of items to start with if they
Mm-hmm.
find themselves in a situation where they're lost. And that goes for like if me or you were just to go mushroom picking and find ourselves lost in the mountains. Like,
Lost, right? Yeah, that's
yeah,
survival. That's survival.
which
I
I've
was
been in
thinking
that
more like
situation like super recently. Yeah, yeah,
living,
yeah.
like survive, like on purpose, But yeah, survival.
Oh
Fucking.
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, we could hit all of it. I just find it so hard to, um,
Segue
yeah, to
or
yeah,
introduce it.
Well, who
exactly.
knows what situations we'll find ourselves in when shit hits the fan. Like
Mm-hmm.
we might be put in a certain situation where we're in that kind of survival situation where we have one tank of gas, we're in the middle of the woods, but we can't really go out and do anything about it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why, like, you got your storable food, you got your propane. Like, if you get a chainsaw, like 5 gallon gas, let's just say you got enough gas to get out there. Yeah, you throw in clothes, blankets, fucking boxes of matches,
Yeah.
a way to purify water. I mean, you're good for a minute. You know what I mean?
If you can
But
get
everyone's like, I need
sand
electricity.
and charcoal, sand and charcoal and something to drain it with, you're pretty good on water as long as you boil it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll boil the fuck out of water. That's the thing too, is
Yeah.
like I don't think a lot of people have what are those frying pans made out of? I have one.
Cast iron.
Yeah,
Cast iron?
iron, dude.
Yeah,
That
they're my
shit'll
favorite. That's all I cook
last.
with.
That's
Yeah,
me
that's all I
too.
cook
I
with for sure.
fucking love it. Yeah. That shit'll be going right in the bag.
Oh yeah.
Because you can
And
do everything.
worst
in
comes to worst, it's self-defense. You break somebody's leg with that thing.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to make dinner here, motherfucker.
I'll go cast iron, pan, and a Dutch oven.
There you
That's
go.
it. That's all you need.
Yeah. Pretty much. Just gotta find a way to make like or cups too. They make those fucking old cowboy cups. A couple of those would be good. And some fucking forks or spoons and knives or just a utility, whatever. I don't know.
Just
It
use a
depends.
stick.
Well, it depends on being like Like I got kids, you know what I mean?
What
Like,
what is utensils? Use your hands. Be
Oh,
a
those
man.
kids will get the fuck over it way faster than you.
I
will. Kids
know,
adapt
I
fast.
know. This is just that old school camping shit. Fucking so good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
dude, I stored up unstorable food and then I bought a fucking burner, like what you would use a propane burner for,
Oh yeah.
like cooking turkeys with
Like-
like big pots.
Like the Coleman. Yeah. I got like 4 or 5 of those. I got it for like boiling crawdads outside and shit because I don't want to do it in the house.
Yeah, and I was like,
Because crawdads smell like asshole.
that with propane. I mean, you don't even need it, but that's just for here. I was like, if we run out of food, I'm fucking good. But if we run out of electricity,
Yeah.
I gonna have enough fucking propane to cook. But yeah, if I gotta hit the woods, it's fire. That's what I keep telling people. They're like, well, what about, you gotta have electricity? No, you don't. No, you don't. The
That's a
Egyptians might have had it,
necessity,
but we don't need it, We can survive without that shit. You don't need the necessities, or not necessities.
man. Yeah.
That's what people call necessities.
Mhm.
Isn't that crazy? They call
Yeah.
cell phones necessities now because they are.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
when it first came out, it was like, what? Because people were like, your phone's not a necessity. You could have a house, and that was like fucking 15 years ago. But now it's like,
Yeah.
you couldn't find anybody
Now-
to tell you don't need a
Now
cell
kids
phone.
don't even know what a landline is. Like literally, most kids don't know what a landline is at all.
Yeah. Well, I went to my dad's for Thanksgiving. And their fucking landline rang, and I was like, "Is that a fucking house phone?" You guys
There's a
pay for
house
that
phone.
shit, do you? Yeah, it's just for the telemarketers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to give them a
Everybody
voice.
misses those guys.
Fuck, dude. Crazy. All right. I think we should end it on this note, boys.
All right.
Before we get into too much crazy shit about Egyptian shit, we gotta stop me. Trust me, we gotta stop me. Right? We're
Save
about
it
to
for the
reach a
next
big
one.
old circle fucking shit right now if I keep going on this. All right. Well, fucking thank you, boys. Thank you, fucking everyone that listens to this. This is the Collective Minds podcast. We are the American Spartans, and